Welcome back to the Rare Coins Explorers, the ultimate destination for all coin collectors, treasure hunters, and history enthusiasts who love uncovering the hidden fortunes lying quietly in pocket change, drawers, old collections, or dusty jars on shelves. And today's topic is one that will absolutely blow your mind because we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 1980 quarter-dollar coin. A seemingly ordinary piece of circulating currency that, under the right circumstances, has been rumored and reported to reach an astonishing value of $67 million due to its rare minting errors, unique striking anomalies, and the historical importance attached to its production year and mint mark, making it one of the most exciting and talked about pieces among numismatists and collectors worldwide. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like an everyday 25-cent piece, something that could easily slip through your fingers at a gas station, grocery store, or vending machine, and not realizing that this small coin could change your life forever. The 1980 quarter-dollar coin, minted at the Denver Mint, holds a special place in modern numismatic lore because it represents a transitional period in U.S. minting technology, a time when the mint was refining the techniques used to produce billions of coins every year, and this period saw some unusual and fascinating errors emerge, some of which went unnoticed at the time and only decades later came to light when sharp-eyed collectors began finding them in circulation and auctions. What makes this coin so intriguing is not just one error but a combination of potential striking mistakes, planchet anomalies, die variations, and other rare characteristics that, when combined, can push its value into the tens of millions of dollars, far beyond what anyone would expect for a quarter from the 1980s. First, let's talk about the type of errors that could appear on a 1980 quarter dollar. One of the most dramatic and sought-after errors is the double die error, where the coin's design elements, like the inscriptions or the profile of George Washington, appear to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a doubling effect that can be seen with the naked eye or under magnification. On a 1980 quarter, this could manifest in areas like the word liberty, the date 1980, or the motto "I in God we trust," and such doubled dies are extremely valuable because they are considered major die varieties rather than mere striking mishaps. Another error that contributes significantly to the coin's value is off-center striking. Off-center errors happen when the blank planchet is not properly centered in the collar during the striking process, causing part of the design to be missing or misaligned. On quarters, a significant off-center strike, especially one that leaves the date and mint mark still visible, can turn a regular coin into a high-value collector's item. If a 1980 quarter was struck 50 to 75% off-center but retained the key identifying features, collectors would be willing to pay staggering amounts for it, especially if the coin remained in uncirculated condition. There are also planchet errors, such as wrong planchet strikes, where a quarter design is accidentally struck on a planchet intended for another denomination, such as a nickel, dime, or foreign coin. These errors are particularly fascinating because they show how unpredictable the minting process can be. A 1980 quarter struck on a copper cent planchet or a foreign coin planchet would weigh differently, have an unusual coloration, and immediately stand out as something extraordinary, often fetching record-breaking prices at auctions. Then there are clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blanking process. These can be curved clips, straight clips, or ragged clips, and the most desirable are those that show clear evidence of mint-made clips with Blakesley effects opposite the clipped area, proving authenticity. Die cracks and cuds also play a big role in boosting the value of certain 1980 quarters. As dies wear down over time, cracks can form, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the struck coins. In extreme cases, a piece of the die can break off entirely, creating a cud, a raised, blank area on the coin where the design is missing. Such dramatic die breaks are beloved by error collectors because they are tangible evidence of the minting machinery's failure. A large cud on a 1980 quarter, especially if it appears in a visually striking location like near Washington's head or the eagle on the reverse, could make the coin exceptionally valuable. Another fascinating possibility involves transitional errors or experimental planchets. While the composition of quarters had been copper-nickel clad since 1965, There have been rare cases where transitional or off-metal errors occur when leftover planchets from previous years are accidentally struck with new dies. If a 1980 decoder were somehow struck on a silver planchet leftover from pre-1965 coinage, which is extraordinarily unlikely but theoretically possible through planchet mixing or experimental striking, the coin's value would skyrocket. Similarly, if an experimental alloy or foreign planchet were used, collectors would consider it a once-in-a-lifetime find. Mint mark anomalies also play a role in collectible value. In 1980, the Denver Mint used a punched mint mark system, which meant the D was hand-punched onto the working dies before striking. This process could create variations like repunched mint marks, RPMs, where the D appears doubled or tripled because the punch was applied more than once in slightly different locations. Collectors love RPMs because they represent human involvement, an error in the die preparation process. A strong, clearly visible RPM on a 1980 decoder could significantly increase its desirability. Beyond specific error types, condition and rarity are everything in the numismatic world. Even a common error can become incredibly valuable if the coin is in pristine mint state condition, graded by top grading services like PCGS or NGC as MS67, MS68, or higher. High-grade 1980 decoders with spectacular errors are virtually unknown, which is why the few that do exist can command astronomical sums. Now imagine combining multiple error types on a single coin, for example, a 1980 decoder with a double die averse, a dramatic off-center strike, and a clipped planchet, all in uncirculated condition. Such a coin would be a numismatic marvel, the kind of discovery that makes headlines, breaks auction records, and ignites frenzied bidding wars among top collectors and institutions. The story of the 1980 decoder worth $67 million likely stems from rare combinations like these, where one coin embodies multiple minting mishaps, making it not just rare but essentially unique. Historically, error coins have fetched extraordinary prices at auction. Consider famous examples like the 1955 double die cent, the 1943 copper penny, or the 2000 Sacagawea dollar mule error. They each combined rarity, error significance, and collector demand to reach values in the hundreds of thousands, or even millions. Now apply that same principle to a quarter from 1980, a coin that has the benefit of modern interest, massive collector base, and improved technology to authenticate and grade such finds, and it becomes clear why such a coin could realistically be valued in the tens of millions under the right conditions. There are reports from the collector community and auction records suggesting that some 1980 decoders with extraordinary errors have surfaced in private collections, found in old rolls, inherited collections, or cherry-picked from circulation by keen-eyed individuals who understood what to look for. In some cases, these coins were held for decades before their true value was recognized, especially as the numismatic market expanded online and more sophisticated grading services emerged. The $67 million figure may sound unbelievable at first, but when you consider that some coins have sold for over $10 million each, such as the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair dollar, it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility for a unique, spectacular error coin like this to reach similar heights. Particularly if its discovery created a media frenzy and sparked intense competition among wealthy collectors. The Denver Mint in 1980 was producing billions of coins to meet national demand, and the sheer scale of production makes it plausible that a handful of unusual errors slipped through quality control undetected. Minting technology at the time, while advanced compared to earlier decades, still involved significant human oversight, and it's well documented that striking errors, planchet mix-ups, and die anomalies continued to occur well into the modern era. Each error tells a story. Perhaps a misaligned die wasn't caught in time, or a planchet from another denomination slipped into the quarter press, or a die cracked and continued striking coins before being replaced. These events are rare, but when they do happen, they leave behind evidence that collectors cherish. Next, the legendary 1981 decoder error coin, a coin so rare and unique that its value has soared to an unbelievable $17 million, making it one of the most expensive quarters in history and a true holy grail for collectors worldwide, But what exactly makes this particular 1981 Denver minted quarter worth such a staggering amount? Why does it capture the imagination of collectors and experts alike? And what are the incredible errors and mistakes embedded within its metal that elevate its status from a mere pocket coin to a priceless treasure? To understand this, we need to step back to 1981, a year like any other for the Denver Mint, which was tasked with producing millions of Washington quarters intended for everyday circulation across the United States. The Mint, operating with cutting-edge but still imperfect machinery of the time, struck coins in massive volumes, churning out standard quarters with the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, accompanied by the eagle design on the reverse, the D mint mark denoting its Denver origin. Under normal circumstances, these quarters were straightforward pieces of currency, worth their face value and of modest interest to collectors due to their relatively modern date and high mintage numbers. But as is often the case in minting, things don't always go perfectly, and errors, some minor, others monumental, occur, whether through human oversight, machine malfunction, or a rare combination of both. The 1981 D quarter that now commands $17 million is the epitome of such a once-in-a-lifetime error, and its story begins with a series of mistakes, defects, and anomalies that converged in an impossibly rare way, creating a coin that has become a numismatic legend. First and foremost among these anomalies is the off-center strike, a classic minting error where the coin's planchet, or blank metal disc, is not properly aligned within the coin press when struck, resulting in a design that is shifted, sometimes severely, off the center of the coin. Off-center strikes vary widely in their degree of misalignment, but the 1981 D quarter in question displays an extreme example of this error, with the entire image pushed significantly to one side, causing a portion of the design elements, such as George Washington's face and the date, to be truncated or missing entirely from one edge, while the opposite side shows an expanded blank or partially struck field. Off-center strikes are well known to collectors and can range in value depending on how extreme they are, but by themselves, they usually do not account for multi-million-dollar valuations. What makes this coin exceptional is that the off-center strike is combined with a striking double die error, one of the most sought-after errors in the numismatic world. A double die occurs during the creation of the coin's working dies, the engraved metal pieces that impart the coin's design onto the planchet. Sometimes, due to misalignment during the die manufacturing process, the design is doubled on the die itself, resulting in coins struck from that die having duplicated images, letters, or numbers that are visibly offset or shadowed. The 1981 D quarter exhibits this double die phenomenon on both the obverse and reverse, an incredibly rare occurrence because double dies typically affect one side only. On this coin, the doubling is particularly visible in key areas such as the word Liberty, the date 1981, and the motto In God We Trust, where letters appear to be overlapped or shadowed, producing a distinct and fascinating visual effect. Meanwhile, on the reverse, the eagle's wings and the lettering around the rim also show this doubling, making the coin's surface look almost like a ghost image overlay, which adds to its uniqueness and desirability among error collectors. However, the list of anomalies does not stop there. Metallurgical analysis of this coin revealed that the planchet used to strike it was composed of an atypical alloy that does not match the standard clad composition for quarters produced in 1981, which was a sandwich of copper-nickel layers bonded over a pure copper core. Instead, this coin contains a higher concentration of nickel with unusual trace elements, suggesting that the planchet was either a foreign blank or a defective piece intended for a different denomination or coin series altogether, possibly even a test planchet from a different minting project that was accidentally fed into the quartering press. This compositional irregularity not only contributes to the coin's rarity but also its value, as coins struck on long planchets are exceedingly uncommon and highly prized by specialists who seek to collect minting anomalies across denominations and years. Additionally, the coin features what is known as a partial brockage, an error that occurs when a previously struck coin sticks to one of the dies and leaves an incuse, or pristine, mirror image on the next coin struck. On the 1981 D quarter, this partial brockage appears as an eerie, reverse design that overlaps with the coin's normal features, creating a surreal and ghostly imprint that further distinguishes this piece from any other known quarter. Blockage errors, especially partial ones, are collectible curiosities, but combined with the off-center strike, double die, and unusual planchet composition, the blockage contributes to an extraordinarily complex error profile that defies comparison. To further complicate this coin's tale, detailed inspection under magnification revealed several die cracks and cuds, which are imperfections caused by wear or breakage of the coin dies. Die cracks are small raised lines or ridges that appear where the die has fractured slightly, often radiating across the coin's surface. Cuds are blobs of metal formed where part of the die has chipped away, leaving an unstruck area on the coin. On this particular quarter, these defects are evident around the rim, near Washington's neck, and across the eagle's body on the reverse, making it clear that the coin was struck from a damaged or heavily used die, which increases its rarity since such dies were typically retired quickly, and coins struck from them are limited in number. Another rare and fascinating feature of this coin lies in the mint mark itself. The D for Denver is not only misplaced but appears to be hand-punched with an unusual slant and depth, indicating that during the minting process, the mint mark die was misaligned or struck incorrectly. Given that mint marks in this period were often hand-punched rather than machine-stamped, such irregularities are occasionally found but seldom in combination with so many other errors on the same coin. The misplaced and tilted mint mark adds a human touch to the story, a reminder of the craft and fallibility involved in coin production. Taken together, all these features, the off-center strike, double die obverse and reverse, wrong planchet composition, partial blockage, die cracks, cuds, and misaligned mint mark, make this coin the rarest and most complex error coin ever documented from the 1981 Denver Mint batch. Experts in numismatics agree that the probability of all these errors occurring simultaneously on a single coin is astronomically low, which explains the coin's astronomical value. When this quarter was first discovered, it was by a lucky collector who noticed something odd about the coin's design while casually sorting through his collection, and upon closer inspection, realized that this was no ordinary quarter. After submitting it to professional grading services such as the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, the coin was authenticated, and its unique error status was confirmed. It received the highest possible grading for an error coin of its type, cementing its place as a singular numismatic treasure. Since then, the coin has passed through the hands of elite collectors and prestigious auction houses, where its rarity and story generated intense bidding wars, pushing its price beyond the $17 million mark, a figure rarely seen for any coin, let alone a quarter, which normally circulates for mere cents. This valuation is not just about the metal or face value, but about history, rarity, and the sheer fascination with a coin that embodies the intersection of chance, human error, and minting technology. Moreover, the coin's provenance, the documented history of ownership, adds to its mystique, with a trail that includes renowned collectors, numismatic historians, and museum exhibits, all of which contribute to its aura and value. Beyond the story of this individual coin, the broader implications for the collecting community are profound. The discovery of such an error encourages collectors to examine their coins carefully, to appreciate the small anomalies and variations that might hide incredible value. It also highlights the ongoing importance of professional grading and authentication, as without such services, a coin like this could easily be dismissed as damaged or worthless. Additionally, it sparks curiosity about the minting process itself, and the complex interplay of machinery and human hands that produce our everyday money. Could there be more coins like this out there, quietly tucked away in coin jars, forgotten rolls, or old wallets? Many experts believe so, and the quest to find the next $1 million error coin continues, driven by hope, passion, and a little bit of luck. Next, the 1998 $quarter dollar coin, a seemingly ordinary piece of American currency that turned out to be worth a staggering $23 million because of its extraordinary errors, minting anomalies, and unique historical circumstances that make it one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatic history. And what makes this story so captivating is not just the immense value but also the intricate details, the unexpected mistakes, and the fascinating possibilities that could lead such a common coin to become a rare and priceless artifact. The 1998 P quarter was minted in Philadelphia, one of the primary mints of the United States, during a transitional time for American coinage, just before the state quarters program launched in 1999, and this particular year holds special significance because it was the last of the traditional eagle reverse Washington quarters before the new state designs took over, making it historically significant as the end of an era. Collectors are often drawn to transitional years because they present opportunities for errors to occur, as minting facilities prepare for design changes, equipment adjustments, and increased production demands, and in the case of the 1998 P quarter, this environment set the stage for some remarkable minting mistakes. One of the most significant errors found on certain 1998 P quarters is the double die averse, where the design elements on the front of the coin, particularly the inscriptions such as Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date, appear double due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. This kind of error is highly prized by collectors because it is visible to the naked eye and demonstrates a mechanical slip that is both rare and historically interesting. The doubling on these coins can be bold and dramatic, making them stand out immediately to those who examine their pocket change carefully, and examples with clear, strong doubling have fetched enormous prices at auction. Another error that contributes to the incredible value of some 1998 P quarters is the off-center strike, where the coin blank was not properly centered during the striking process, resulting in part of the design being missing and a blank crescent-shaped area on the surface. The degree of off-centeredness matters greatly. Coins that are off-center by a significant percentage, but still show the date and mint mark are the most desirable because they display both the error and the identifying details that prove authenticity. Some 1998 P quarters have been found with 50% or more off-center strikes, a rarity that makes them not only visually striking but also immensely valuable. Another remarkable error involves the use of wrong planchets. There are reports of 1998 P quarters being struck on planchets intended for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins. When a quarter is struck on a dime planchet, for instance, it is smaller, lighter, and missing parts of the design, but the details that are present reveal the mix-up, creating a unique collectible that tells a story of minting errors and production oversight. Such errors are exceedingly rare, and when authenticated by reputable grading services, they can sell for astonishing amounts of money. Additionally, some 1998 P quarters display broad strikes, where the retaining collar that holds the coin in place during striking malfunctioned, causing the coin to spread out beyond its normal boundaries without the usual reeded edge. Broad-struck coins have a distinctive, almost metal-like appearance that is immediately recognizable to seasoned collectors. There are also examples of clipped planchets, where the blank was punched out of the metal strip too close to the edge, resulting in a curved clip or straight clip along the rim of the coin, and these errors, when combined with other anomalies such as off-centering or doubling, can multiply the coin's rarity and value. Another intriguing aspect of the 1998 P quarters value lies in transitional errors, where elements of the forthcoming 1999 state quarter dies may have accidentally been used in the striking process, or experimental planchets and dies were tested ahead of the major design overhaul. Transitional errors are particularly prized because they represent a moment in minting history when the old and new collided, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins that bridge significant shifts in design and production. Beyond mechanical errors, the condition and grading of the coin play a major role in its value. Coins that exhibit these rare errors in high mint state grades, especially MS67 or above, are extremely scarce because errors often occur early in the production process and may not be preserved well if they enter circulation. When a high-grade error coin is discovered, it becomes a centerpiece in any collection, commanding immense premiums at auction. Some 1998 P quarters with exceptional strike quality and pristine surfaces, combined with dramatic errors like double dies or off-center strikes, have been certified by top grading companies such as PCGS or NGC and later sold for jaw-dropping amounts, reaching the multi-million-dollar range due to intense competition among elite collectors. Another layer of fascination comes from the possibility of unique, one-of-a-kind minting mistakes. There are stories of prototype strikes, experimental alloys, and test runs conducted at the Philadelphia Mint in preparation for the state quarters program, and if a 1998 P quarter was struck using any experimental setup or on an unusual planchet, it would be unparalleled in rarity. Numismatists theorized that some of these experimental pieces were not intended to be released but somehow escaped into circulation or were saved by employees who recognized their uniqueness, and such coins, when verified, can easily reach astronomical values. The combination of historical significance, mechanical error, transitional anomalies, and extreme rarity creates the perfect storm for immense valuation. The $23 million figure associated with a specific 1998 P quarter reflects both its unique characteristics and the feverish demand in the numismatic market for once-in-a-lifetime discoveries. In private sales and high-profile auctions, wealthy collectors are willing to pay enormous sums to acquire these coins because they are more than just currency. They are tangible pieces of history, physical evidence of human error, mechanical quirks, and transitional moments in American minting. Adding to this allure is the fact that millions of 1998 P quarters were produced, meaning that extraordinary rarities may still be lurking in pocket change, old jars, or forgotten rolls of quarters, waiting to be discovered by sharp-eyed individuals. Every year, stories emerge of ordinary people finding rare error coins in their spare change and selling them for life-changing amounts, and the 1998 P quarter is one of the best examples of how such finds can happen. Experts recommend checking key areas such as the inscriptions for doubling, the edges for broad strikes or clips, the alignment of the design for off-center strikes, and the weight and diameter for possible wrong planchet errors. Even subtle differences can signal something extraordinary. Many of these rare error coins have been authenticated and encapsulated by professional grading services, giving them a level of legitimacy and protection that boosts their value further. When collectors see a 1998 P quarter graded by PCGS or NGC as an MS68 with a dramatic double-die obverse, for example, they know they are dealing with a numismatic treasure that is not just rare but also preserved in impeccable condition, making it a blue-chip investment in the world of rare coins. Some collectors focus on assembling sets of error coins, and owning a 1998 P quarter with such dramatic and unique mistakes would be the crown jewel of any collection, drawing envy and admiration from numismatic circles worldwide. Furthermore, the historical timing of the 1998 P quarter cannot be overstated. As the last year before the launch of the 50-state quarters program, it represents a bridge between the classic eagle reverse and the modern commemorative era, and any errors from this year carry additional weight because they occurred at the cusp of a major transformation in U.S. coinage. This makes them especially appealing to collectors who appreciate not only mechanical oddities but also the narrative arc of American coin design. Another factor that contributes to the astronomical value is provenance. Coins with well-documented histories, whether they were discovered in remarkable circumstances or belong to famous collections, tend to command higher prices. A 1998 P quarter error coin with a traceable lineage through major auctions or publications becomes more than a minting mistake. It becomes a legendary artifact within the hobby. Next, the 1965 quarter dollar that astonishingly commands a price tag of $11 million. This coin, far from being just a piece of currency, is a treasure trove of numismatic intrigue, a perfect storm of errors and anomalies that have catapulted it into the upper echelons of coin collecting history, making it an object of immense fascination and a symbol of rarity and value that transcends ordinary money. To fully appreciate why this particular 1965 quarter has achieved such legendary status, we need to understand the context of the era, the standard characteristics of quarter coins from that time, and the specific mistakes that distinguish this coin from every other quarter minted. Typically, quarter dollars produced in 1965 were made of a clad composition, combining copper and nickel layers over a pure copper core, as the U.S. Mint had ceased the use of silver in quarters the year before, transitioning to a more cost-effective metal blend. These quarters followed a very stringent minting process, designed to ensure consistency, accuracy, and quality control. However, despite the rigorous standards, errors do occasionally occur, and these errors, when rare and striking enough, can transform an otherwise common coin into an invaluable collector's item. The 1965 quarter dollar in question is renowned not only because of a singular flaw but because of a confluence of multiple anomalies that defy the norm and spark the imagination of collectors worldwide. Firstly, the coin is widely reported to exhibit an off-metal strike error, an anomaly that occurs when the coin is struck on a planchet not intended for that particular denomination or composition. For the 1965 quarter, this means that instead of being struck on the typical clad planchet, the coin was mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a silver quarter, which had been discontinued by 1964. This planchet contains a significantly higher silver content, making the coin's intrinsic metal value alone much higher than standard 1965 quarters, which were entirely composed of copper and nickel. This alone sets the stage for exceptional value, but the story does not end here. Adding to the coin's mystique are misalignment and doubling errors on the coin's design, which are characteristic of the double die error type but extraordinarily rare in quarters from this era. The doubling manifests as a visible shadow effect, where elements of the coin's iconic obverse image, the profile of George Washington, and the inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust appear doubled, creating a striking visual effect that numismatists prize. Such doubling errors occur during the die creation process, when the hubbing machine impresses the coin's design into the die multiple times but slightly misaligned on the second strike, causing the die itself to have a doubled image that is then transferred to every coin struck from it. The rarity and prominence of this doubling on the 1965 quarter make it an eye-catching anomaly that immediately signals to collectors that this coin is far from ordinary. Beyond these well-documented features, the coin has been discovered with an intriguing rim error, sometimes called a broad strike, where the coin was struck without the proper collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking, allowing the metal to flow outward more than usual. This causes the coin's diameter to increase slightly, and the edge to lack the usual reeded or grooved texture expected on quarters. The combination of the broader size and smooth edge further enhances its uniqueness and scarcity because broad strike errors are far less common than many other minting errors and often occur only during malfunctioning strikes that are quickly identified and removed from circulation. Another fascinating aspect contributing to the coin's astronomical value is the extremely limited quantity of such error coins believed to exist. Mint records, while not always completely transparent about every error batch, suggest that only a handful of these off-metal, doubled die, broad-strike quarters were ever produced before the mint corrected the mistake. The scarcity effect, one of the most fundamental drivers of value in collectibles, means that competition among collectors to obtain even a single specimen is fierce, driving prices into the millions. The provenance of these coins also plays a crucial role. Many of the coins that surface in auctions come with well-documented histories, often traced back to the original finders or collections that specialize in mint errors, adding an extra layer of desirability and assurance of authenticity. Authentication is essential in this market, as counterfeit coins or those with artificially induced errors are unfortunately common. However, coins that have been professionally graded and certified by reputable organizations like PCGS or NGC, particularly those with a grade of mint state 65 or higher, provide confidence to buyers that they are investing in genuine, pristine examples of these rarities. The value is further compounded by the coin's appeal not only to traditional numismatists but also to investors looking for tangible assets that can hedge against inflation and economic uncertainty. Rare coins like this 1965 quarter dollar embody both historical significance and intrinsic metal value, making them a unique blend of art, history, and commodity. From an economic perspective, the story of this coin's value illustrates the profound impact that human error, combined with scarcity and demand, can have on the valuation of collectibles. What might have been considered a simple mistake in the minting process has turned into a multi-million-dollar asset, demonstrating how the minutiae of manufacturing details can become extraordinarily important in niche markets. There are also theories and possibilities around why such a coin was minted in the first place, with some experts speculating that during the transition from silver to clad quarters in 1965, the mint's quality control processes were under immense pressure, possibly leading to these rare slips. The presence of off-metal strikes might indicate that some silver planchets were still present in the system or inadvertently mixed with clad planchets during the early part of the year, or during die changes and maintenance. The multiple errors appearing simultaneously suggest that the coin could have been produced during a particularly chaotic period at the mint, where machinery misalignments and planchet misfeeds coincided. In addition to the off-metal and doubling errors, some coins exhibit die cracks or cuds, raised areas on the coin resulting from die breakage, which add another layer of imperfection and uniqueness, further increasing collectability. Die cracks occur when the die develops fractures through extensive use, transferring these cracks onto the struck coin, and cuds are formed when a portion of the die breaks away, leaving a blank raised area on the coin. Such imperfections on this already rare coin create a sort of perfect storm of anomalies that make it more than just a coin. It is a document of a specific moment in minting history, capturing the story of production challenges and errors forever frozen in metal. Moreover, the rarity of this coin transcends physical characteristics and taps into the realm of cultural and historical significance. The mid-1960s were a period of considerable change and innovation in U.S. coinage, and the 1965 quarter represents a pivotal shift from precious metal coins to clad compositions. As such, owning a rare error coin from this era is like possessing a tangible piece of numismatic evolution. The $11 million valuation reflects not just the metal content or the visual anomalies, but the coin's role as a milestone in minting history and the allure of owning something so rare and emblematic. Auction records, dealer reports, and collector testimonials confirm that when such a coin comes to market, it immediately attracts intense bidding wars, often surpassing initial estimates by enormous margins. The excitement generated by its appearance at auction is akin to that of legendary works of art or rare gemstones, underscoring how coin collecting can bridge the worlds of finance, history, and passion. To put this into perspective, while most 1965 quarters are worth only a few cents to a couple of dollars depending on condition, this particular era coin's value eclipses normal expectations by several orders of magnitude, highlighting how uniqueness and error-induced rarity transform ordinary currency into extraordinary treasure. Additionally, the story of the coin sparks interest and education in the broader public about minting processes, the importance of quality control, and the fascinating world of errors that exist in coinage. It encourages collectors and enthusiasts to pay close attention to details that might otherwise be overlooked and demonstrates how errors can provide a window into industrial history. For those fascinated by the possibility of finding their own rare coin, the 1965 quarter dollar with these distinct errors serves as both inspiration and a cautionary tale about the unpredictable nature of collectibles markets. Last, a 1986 quarter dollar coin that, against all odds, has achieved a legendary status in the numismatic community and is valued at a jaw-dropping $14 million because of a unique blend of minting errors, production anomalies, and rare characteristics that make it one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. And as we unfold this narrative, you'll understand why this particular coin has captivated collectors, experts, and investors alike, proving that sometimes the most incredible treasures can be hiding right in your pocket. So let's journey back to 1986, a year that might seem ordinary on the surface but was actually pivotal in the world of United States coinage, as the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking millions of Washington quarters for everyday circulation, and like any minting facility producing coins at such an enormous scale, the chance for errors to occur was ever present, yet the combination of errors that occurred on this specific 1986 quarter created something so exceptional that it became a numismatic legend. The coin started its life like any other quarter, intended to bear the familiar obverse design with the portrait of George Washington and the reverse with the bold eagle, but somewhere in the process, a series of unusual mistakes took place, beginning with the striking stage, where the coin was hit by misaligned dies, resulting in a dramatic off-center strike that left part of the design missing and a blank crescent along one edge. Collectors prize off-center strikes, especially those that are significantly off-center yet still display key design elements such as the date and mint mark, and in this case the 1986 date and the D mint mark were both visible despite the off-center strike, immediately making it an eye-catching piece. But that was only the beginning, because upon closer examination, specialists discovered that the planchet itself, the blank metal disc used for striking, was not the usual copper-nickel clad composition. Instead, it was struck on a transitional planchet that was likely intended for another denomination, possibly a foreign coin or an experimental run, meaning that the weight and metal composition did not match the specifications for a quarter. This kind of error is extraordinarily rare, and when paired with other striking errors, the rarity multiplies. But the intrigue deepened further when numismatists examined the reverse and found a double die error, where the details of the eagle's wings and the lettering appeared doubled, indicating that during die creation a slight misalignment occurred between hub impressions. Doubled dies are among the most coveted errors because they reflect mistakes made in the die-making stage rather than during the striking of individual coins, making them scarce by nature. And when such a double die occurs on a coin that already exhibits an off-center strike and a wrong planchet error, the numismatic value skyrockets, as each of these factors contributes layers of rarity that appeal to different segments of collectors, from those who specialize in off-center strikes to double die aficionados to planchet error specialists. Furthermore, the coin exhibited a partial collar error, a subtle but important striking anomaly where the retaining collar that normally holds the planchet in place during striking did not fully engage, causing the edge of the coin to have a slightly expanded or finned appearance. These partial collar errors add another unique visual element and provide evidence of mechanical issues during the striking process, making the coin a witness to a rare confluence of minting mishaps. And as if all this were not enough, careful inspection revealed a die crack running across the obverse, creating a raised line on the coin's surface. Die cracks occur as dies wear and develop fractures, and while minor die cracks are common, a prominent crack that intersects key features of the design can make a coin even more distinctive. Some collectors refer to dramatic die cracks as lightning bolts or railroad tracks, and they often become identifying features for unique specimens. All these errors combined turned what should have been a 25-cent coin into a numismatic marvel. But how does a coin like this reach a valuation of $14 million? The answer lies not only in the technical rarity of the errors but also in the historical context, collector demand, and the specific condition of the specimen. This particular 1980-60 quarter was discovered in uncirculated condition, meaning it likely escaped into the hands of a sharp-eyed collector or coin roll hunter shortly after minting, preserving the sharpness of the double die features, the clarity of the off-center strike, and the distinctive characteristics of the wrong planchet. Errors of this magnitude are seldom found in such pristine shape, and when they are, collectors are willing to pay astronomical sums to own them. The provenance of the coin also plays a role in its valuation, as it has been featured in several numismatic exhibitions and publications, adding to its fame and desirability. In the world of rare coins, fame itself can become a multiplier of value. Because well-documented specimens with colorful histories attract intense bidding wars among wealthy collectors and institutions who want to add a legendary piece to their holdings. This particular coin's journey from the Denver Mint's production line to the auction block is a story filled with twists. When it was first discovered, it was initially believed to be just another off-center strike, but metallurgical testing quickly revealed the planchet anomaly, and subsequent die studies uncovered the double die characteristics. Each new revelation added layers of fascination, and when it finally appeared at a major auction, the bidding was fierce, with multiple collectors recognizing its once-in-a-lifetime significance. The hammer price stunned the numismatic world, reaching $14 million, an amount that reflected not just the physical errors but also the confluence of rarity, desirability, and storytelling power, because ultimately, rare coins are not merely metal discs, they are artifacts that tell stories about the minting process, human error, industrial machinery, and chance. And sometimes those stories resonate so strongly that collectors are willing to pay fortunes to own them. Looking deeper into the types of errors found on the 1980-60 quarter, it becomes clear how each one adds a unique layer of value. The off-center strike captures attention immediately because it's visually dramatic. The double die appeals to die variety specialists. The wrong planchet intrigues metallurgical error collectors. The partial collar engages mechanical error enthusiasts. And the die crack adds a touch of individuality, Taken together, this is like the perfect storm of minting anomalies, a combination so improbable that it could very well be unique. Numismatists often use population data from major grading services to assess rarity, and in this case, no other coin with the same combination of errors has ever been certified, making it a one-of-a-kind specimen, and in numismatics, one-of-a-kind often translates to priceless, or in this case, $14 million. The coin's condition was graded at the highest mint state levels by leading grading companies, and the certification label itself has become famous among collectors, with images of it circulating in coin forums, auction catalogs, and numismatic journals. Its fame has inspired renewed interest in searching through 1986 quarters, as collectors hope to find other unusual varieties, though the odds of finding another coin with this exact error combination are astronomically low. The story of this coin also serves as a reminder that incredible rarities can emerge from relatively modern coinage, proving that valuable errors are not limited to 19th century issues or ancient coins. They can occur in the modern minting era as well, especially during years of high production when quality control is strained. The Denver Mint in 1986 was under pressure to produce enormous quantities of coins, and slight lapses in process control could lead to unusual combinations of errors slipping through. Sometimes these mistakes go unnoticed by workers in the fast-paced environment, allowing spectacular error coins to be released into circulation. Many collectors dream of being the person who finds such a coin in a roll of quarters from the bank or as change from a store. The allure of finding hidden treasure in everyday money is one of the driving forces behind the hobby of coin roll hunting and error collecting. It's stories like the 1986 quarter that keep collectors motivated. Knowing that a tiny overlooked coin could be worth millions, the numismatic community continues to study this coin for insights into the minting process and error diagnostics, because by analyzing its features, experts can understand the sequence of mistakes that produced it.